Hello to all the viewers and listeners. This is Edward Ma, and you're here sitting down with me with members of the Meghalaya State Commission for Women, or as is commonly known, the Women's Commission in Meghalaya. We have here two eminent personalities in their own fields, but who are also part of the Meghalaya State Commission for Women. We have Kong Iamon Syiem, the chairperson of the MSCW, and Kong Annie Sohtun, coordinator of MSCW. As we go ahead, I would like to introduce to our listeners and our viewers, Kong Iamon Syiem, would you please tell us something about yourself before we go into the details of the commission?
Just a brief background, and that is I've been a teacher for about 33 years at St. Edmund's College in the Department of Sociology. And then I was with the SCPCR, the Child Rights Commission, for 3 years, for the last 3 years. And just recently, about 4 months ago, I'm in the Women's Commission.
Personally, having known Kong Iamon Syiem, she comes from, like I said, a vast background, both of them. Kong Annie herself comes from previously in NEN, right?
Yes.
Yes. And Kong Syiem has been teaching sociology for a long time, ever since I was in college, and also with a lot of experiences in issues, women's issues, working across different organizations and working with different groups. Kong Annie, would you like to introduce yourself as well? Something about you, something about people who know.
Prior to my engagement with the commission, I was with Northeast Network since 1999. I worked with them for almost more than 14 years. I was engaged with them, then I left NEN and joined the commission. So now running with the commission more than 12 years.
Right. And talking about the commission, what is exactly the Meghalaya State Commission for Women? Some people may, mistakenly take it as a government organization. Some people, since they hear the word commission, they might think that it is a non-government organization. Can you elaborate on that, please? What is the MSCW?
It's a statutory body. So it is like, the government thing in that from that angle. And it's not an organization. We are very closely working with the government, and in fact, a lot of our resources are routed through the Social Welfare Department. So it is, established by an act, and we are bound by, the mandate and by the rules. Yeah.
When was it formed exactly?
2004.
2004. And how does the commission, what role does it play in terms of helping the women of the state with the issues that, as you can see nowadays on the internet and on social media, and especially in the news, that a lot of things are happening. So how can people avail, or what does the commission do for the women of the state?
So the whole objective of the commission is actually, mandate of the commission is actually to protect and to look at issues if there's any kind of violation of women's rights anywhere in any part within the state of Meghalaya. So our jurisdiction is only within Meghalaya. And the other important function of the commission is also to monitor and to look into safeguards that are there, the different legislation that has been passed by the government of India, as well as if there are any law by the state to actually help and to protect women in the state and the country.
Can you also elaborate on certain conventions or laws that the commission, applies to it, to its work, everyday work, in doing the protection work that you are saying?
See, the Domestic Violence Act came because India ratified CEDAW, Convention on the Elimination of Discrimination Against Women. And like I said earlier, one of the main functions of the commission is to actually monitor these safeguards, the legislations. So one of the resolution that was passed from CEDAW committee was for India to actually adopt to implement this law, because there was prior to, which I don't remember exactly, before we didn't have any kind of civil remedy for women who are facing domestic violence. So this recommendation came from CEDAW for India to to pass this law.
India signed
Yeah.
India signed in 1980 and ratified in 19.
Yeah, but then there was a CEDAW recommendation for India to actually pass this law, the Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act 2005. So these are the laws that have been passed, and as a commission, we are supposed to monitor the implementation of these laws, to look at the implementation, the services that are being provided. That is one of our main roles.
Now,
Part of that, there are also different acts which have been like POSH, like the POSH.
right.
Yeah.
Which I see in many offices, they are making it sure. I mean, not only offices, but across institutions, they are making sure that every employee undergoes this sort of a training.
Yeah.
To not only to talk about gender equality, but sensitivity towards both all the genders that are there, and also to understand that it's not only after it happens that we have to take action, but rather the prevention of it.
Prevention.
Yes. Now I saw that in your Instagram there was one your Instagram MSCW Meghalaya. There was one post saying that more than 60% of people, of women in particular especially, who have undergone some sort of physical or sexual abuse, don't report or don't even talk about these. And I'm sure this podcast that we are doing right now is also one way, one action, one effort for our listeners who may have undergone such problems or such have been victims of such events to also come forward. But my question is, why do you think people shy back from coming forward? There are many answers, but I'm sure from the commission you have data and you have come across being there in the field. So why do you think people shy back from coming forward and talking about such events?
Okay, I think for our listeners, we have to get certain things in order first. There's some coherent kind of understanding about violence, and the first thing that we need to know is that number one, violence is everywhere. It's part of the reality that we live in our society today, and especially vulnerabilities. I mean, vulnerable sections and categories like women and children. They face violence constantly because we have to look at the core. The root of it is that because of the inequalities that exist. Of course, here we talk about patriarchy, which is actually the common kind of explanation for the inequalities that exist. But we also, in our matrilineal societies also, we find that there are deeply embedded patriarchal kind of principles or practices actually that kind of place a woman in positions of vulnerabilities, especially in the household. And today, with a lot of changes in our systems, there's been a lot of like nuclear kind of families that are coming up, and so the old traditional safeguards, like our kinship system, the support system that is there, has been kind of diminished, or because of changes and so on. Yeah, and so violence is our reality. And the world is extremely violent now, especially and through social media. We have that that kind of wave of it's just like a lot of violence everywhere. We talk about violence in terms of verbal, in terms of physical, sexual, structural, a whole lot of varieties of violence. So that's the first thing that we need to understand. And because of these things, what again, to trace the fact that how women came to this position where they are enabled to have a voice, is to also trace the histories of women around the world who have fought to have a voice because they never had. So we've had the suffragette movement. We have, when women wanted to vote because of slavery issues and other kind of issues and we salute all those women in various continents who have fought for that, workers and because of after industrialization. So we see a pattern over there. And then, of course, over here, when we talk about this campaign that we're going to talk about, for example, the Women's Global Leadership Institute had initiated this campaign, 16 days thing against violence. So what we're seeing here is that there are various groups and various sections of the world who are coming up, they are voicing and gaining courage, you can say, and making their own indent, in other parts of the world. And so the commission is only an outcome or a consequence, or maybe a part of a sequence of changes where there are strategies in place, where these are instruments and organizing principles and strategies to bring some structure into the fight against violence, especially against women. And that goes for children too, but about women. Of course, we can go on, but I just want to put everyone to have that kind of perspective why we're talking about this, because of the violence that is our reality, and the fact that there are these strategies in place, there are these systems in place, but then between implementation and there's a whole gap sometimes, and that's why we're here. And the commission is, as Annie said, it's part of its job is to identify issues and to look at violations, as well as to also monitor what's going on regarding. See, everything we do, of course, without research, we cannot really make a kind of a blanket kind of statement about it. So I was a little bit dubious about when you bring an percentage and so on.
Yeah.
Because we lack research, and there's a need for greater depth, greater research, and I hope that the commission now will really seriously, take this to the field, because we cannot make these statements or, diagnose a problem, unless we have these research. So I think one should kind of be very careful when we use the word research, and based on what,
Right.
So that's the only thing, yeah.
But in the context of Meghalaya, in fact, I want to ask this question in Khasi. Balay ba kibri kimkwa ban batay hatu day nakadaw jong ka ying kasem, hatu day nakadaw jong ka imnang salang bikimsya ban batay ban darja egi kwa ban ambit ban numbat set happening jong ka ying kasem ban tip ban nam na kani ka jingkali mde mo tang nakadaw jong ka mde ba ong tang naka nakita ki beki research pe fi ang him tanda ta ki jingwat banyak hendrei nakwa ban bafin jubab nakaliang jong ka experience pe fi don ma ki jing tip jong pi ki jingwat banyak beflayo bat ki befila train ka no post name shop menta ma bat ki kena bat ki long kumi bat ki bahe baret borok te pilala pila ikan bon ki bre pila kan bon ki longi long sem bele tharai pi ba hapo ka hakai menong salang jogi khasi palada kajia kam to bon kim batai
Jing shem jong amo jing tray jong amuntan na po nen ba thang niru kalong ba bon hi ki kan thai la ni kilong kme tala ki shem jing ek om ni hi dai silok la daw sha le ben ha ulok te ka jing sha le ben jong ka kam dai tang jong ka bat ki khun ro ka ta ai ki khun ro te bon sen kan ni ka case ki ni ki kan thai em ki ba sitam ki ba sha le ben ha ulok kim kloy na mar badai kidan ka to ka jing iuna ki rute ba ura pun sakala kidan ka to ka jing ki amno expectation no ka no
ni community
jing community ba ulak un sakala mon mari ulak ki et mphp la zdang long yi long san godan ka jing et so godan ka to ka jing kan men ba un sakala un sa ka ong kan ni ka domestic violence ka long ka shaka ne long ka shaka ka sedang da ka episode ko baning kong bon sim wa balong mai ka balong mai na ka jing ja mo te sha ai tang si thap ti ka long ta dang ka ton ka jing ma ka jing phai biang kwan ka mo face ka dang ka jing ya so thu jing ya kre da hadin ka to ka ni por ka ja biang te ka nang ki wa nang ka cycle ka nang kam ki we ka nang kam to ka jing ja ga incident ka kham long serious mo te tamba na kalang ki kente hi bon sim ki no mon chakmat na ki dan be tu jing thu ba ki kwa ban tan hai ka long yi long sam ning kong e ma dan ki khun na ma dan lu ki kente gi long ki shania mo ha ulok ki long dependent ha ulok financially bro okay bon ka ul pan kam mai and all that and ki kambon sen hi kite na ki long dependent na mar ki duna ka ji yo la ka lian jo ki mo ka ting tre ga ki yo ko pisa ka duna sakata ka expectation mo ulok usa kala and kadang ro to ka jing ear jum ki kente ban dalek ban jing rap ir pisa like bullet ru yo dan ka jing le an hani ka ying kasem kam long ben ibun sin da ki dan jing shitam na mar because na mar to nakadaw jong de jing shaban ben halong ye wang sem ka kata ai ka kan the nei ka jing ko jing kha jong ka ba kata ka yo mi jing pang ye bi jai kam la bam ka long anime te de ki de doctor in de doctor le wat ki doctor bun sim tim jula pan ka ne ka ya kata ka issue ba ki face mo ka real ka history jong ki mo ban connect ba it's related to domestic violence te de ki dawai sim dawai ro kala shukuno tang hak pa sim dawai for that tang itu jing pang. So na po akan mau na po Northeast Network nile ekatupa kanun kapor bangi stang bande program bat ke health department bat ke police department hak bangi hikai ki healthcare providers kuno bakin la ban screen namar babun sen hi kin thai kin le cha ki hospital male wa jing arab mo tam bakin ong bade bakade na kadao da de bakin ashashor kin duri bakin ki or something that they always try to hide and to look for a solution to work on the marriage ban try ban penye ke yang kasem mo se project community
thì có mấy lạc ra này còn anh mình nè cái đấy tầm long tăng mình chụp bộ long khana bằng như số thủ rồi bỏ khỏi này cái way cái bon cái chuyện cái one na cái chuyện nhỏ chuyện cọt economics mà thì cũng bị lão lạc cái đồ mình nè mà cái chuyện nhỏ cái bon cái việc nông bền lá cái nhỏ cái chuyện nhỏ cái bền lá thì cái tinh cái riêu cái thế cái riêu long cái mía cái ya cái thì bakan ông ban cũng bị ông đây tăng ban ông ban map bakong kibon ngila ke liro mo kiong te ngila yo new brio to mo te ngi habat hadu bakut kan ya biai ne do bakut kata de ka way fi the sense of obligation no ta den ka baar pa de because kamla ban kit mar way te tat ki khon pa de ki roi te ka don ka jing no so ka depend na po long nai but ngai yo iro sa ka way ba bon na ki rio kan thein de ki le ran wat ye ka de ka kur ki kha ki la ban jan de ki le ran ban ye thoi ki kur ki kan ba bele the man kum shukhen ulong kum social protection the husband is a social protection that is something banga dangshu yo sngo khambon baki kren gen namar ba do udon ulok ki sngo kadon ki jing shingan ki jing yadan ka society ka guilt a shame of being a single mother a single woman ni sngo bakim salyan dei nreki don kata ka sense of shame gen ta kata ga de way tambalong ndi tang kata nga sngo wangi de ban kren hi kata ho ni ong ba bangi ong ba ki jing ai ki jong blame de ki khon ngai teng hi perkhat ru ya reality kan yo ki khon han rem de bangin chu ai kum bakin chu bam na phang gat wa yo ayo mo hab don hab sumar pom ka perthai mentari don kam ban hab boy ki school ki bro khoi mo tena ta dong hab perkhat yang ya kata ban yo khon kat no chu phom mut kata mut shubam plang mo hak yam ya kata sngo ha mo na ta dong kren ya kata mo namar bangi don kata mo ubleu la abo ula ai khna bangin sumar yen suker bat ban ai ki kata ka jing kata ka ki skills mo bat ka da kam dei tang berit jing tip ro ka education khna bakin yen ki jat la jong pen otherwise the cycle of poverty kan yat ka jo shi ka jo so kata de economics and we can talk more about it mo te ka way pa de long manta namar bon ki la wan shapo sor ro kata ka kata mo ki ka ro kom ro ka kata ba ki jing yor ka kata mo but kam don kata ka second part ka de ka social protection ba man shwa don ko ru ja ki ki kong ki bat ka sinong ka thau nei hang ne ba de bon ki la long marway te kin nei in do sho lok kin ong kum no teng kem de itho bhai ki to ki paramarjan mai paro te ki yesha mo te kataro kadega way ta den ka way pade ki ba don ka jing sngo nam ba ki sngo ba ka benta ba uble la bo nga te ila ban yet ta ki bon ki benta balai ka kan thai ka riu ban thai ka yaisha mo ya keta te ka ngim don ka pod ban ya pe phai ka ta tam ba dong shu kwa ban ka do ba kam dei tang ka way ka daw but ka way ru teng ki briok shi ong o ka de kam lok se lingin shell bani tuklar mangi mo henry ni kerpat ya baro khol banya bangi osmo ga no namar ba kam de tang ba ong violation mo ka violence henry ka jing so lemro bangi osmo wa ki don ga kum ba jashan ha kane mo ka teng ka long kme sha sho kala irriation no dele ki para marjan mar pala ne mano ba don ki kor ki ja kim la ban don ha jan badam don ba yaram mano ban yaram hadun da yam la ju ja teng kan husen tena ta dong kerpat e baro khoi mat dei ban ong ba tuklar shilok na em na kawai kala kata e kata bat ka don ka jing ma ya ka bat iki khon tingi dei ban intervene ma
long ka jiso lem para broken humanity mo ba mdi ban perkhat teng kata ba de kam jing ki way mdi kam jonga kat bakam poi haradi ki bri kim
Telah ada kam jong kan.
Hoi, hoi.
Maka ketak ya fi tak ada gitu.
hoi right
Mo.
Ngan cepun kut tan dia lo ko ong kum tung ong manya bakan ni ka domestic violence ni ka jing ban ben ka long ying long sen de ka long ka chaka ni ka da fin pen kut kila on polis ka jing yap ani sha ka suicide kila don ki case ma bungi shem ruma de kila yap ni septe pakadi ka case ka cha sho haulo kula shale pen haulo de kila polis ka bam la le e sho ke
hoi
Kumba sorry ma kuma ayu. Kumba kada ka campaign team long like no excuse. Yim dan daw ban ai kum no bang yim num khang de and it should end with us with our generation. Kat bala no.
yeah talking about the campaign more we can speak both in English and Khasi na kabanta ki nong sngap jung bri Khasi ru and for those of us who are listening who cannot understand Khasi what exactly is this 16 days of activism? What is this no excuse and how can people participate? Let's just briefly talk about it. From what I know, it's on November 25th to December 10. Please elaborate a little bit on that. In crunch pan katikane khandu singi jangane ka jingya kun prasha banang ban punkut ya kata ka no kata ka jing shale ben ji shaban ben jung kilong kumi jingi kenthai. The little bit about that, please.
Tingi ni hap perkhat ya kan ya. Why do we have ki campaigns? Why do we have these markers? Mo ki social markers. Either ni celebrate ni yale ai bro khoi hap don ki dak. Kum ki ayom ki de bandon dei. Kum ki por kum ki jaka. Khanang ba ni ki jing pek bro khoi kan ngin kan mau ye itu ipor. Tamat ni ai le bro khoi ya ka jing sngo ka message dan ya ka jing sngo jong ni ha itu ipor ne. Khanang ba ki brio kin so tho kin yo ikalong kum ka awareness. Tama ki ngidon kam kum kita. Otherwise man ka seeing issue pelat no mo. That we need that. So kasadon kum kita ka campaign ka ba I so wo ya kitu ki kentai ki ba initiate ya kan ne long time when they feel the need bang even pen pau but ban come out you know ha ka partai ban pen pau ba ka don ka jing don kam ba ki ban pen shy ki brio kan awareness at the same time ban like make our voice heard okay so kumangi ong mane kini ki Women's Global Leadership Institute ka ba initiate mo ya kan ne was it has to do with the inequalities and government interventions and so on. So, Annie, you can think into.
Em bang of yung hi basically kani ka campaign kalong bangin raise awareness ngin pau sige pat ba mo ba ki kan thei ha satlak pa thei mo kisha banben ha ki bun rukom mo different forms of violence against women kala bante ka jing sha bat bor yang sha jing sha le be hing sem ne ki tu ki pa sha kidnap ki pa kanta ki bun ki dan mi gun jat ko sha traffic ki bangim ju pam kren to ki issue kin thei ba ja mo ki ba shu ja to missing cases ki don bangin raise awareness halor kini ki issue king ba satlak pa thei kum ki kin thei sem gung kini ki ja jing sha ban ben ken but hapring gini ki sngi na do ka 8% tarik ya ka bat ka 8% tarik kadi ka tarik ka bala declare officially the United Nations teng ba ka resolution mo so in between hapring jong kini ki tarik na do ka 8% tarik ha ka kut ka po ka tarik but ka tarik kadi ka sngi ka bangi ong bangi rakhe ya ka ni observe ya ka human rights day
Hi.
Kita ke ke bang ni so tanat ke no pon gidang ya kam ya red mangi nda kam ya long shawai ki perthai bra kam sha ta ki don kom ki ne gi jing rakhe mo but I knew kila fight for women's issues ba aslam ba tamba ya ka de tang ha kin get por hi badang sedang ha kini ki region ni kam tam ne sha I'm shane than jong ni kan tinga su komen ba na mar bele menta ya ka ni am de tang ka commission ka ba rakhe mo ki bon ha ki education institution ki school ngai ki colleges but what ki office ki ro namar ba ha ki office ro ki la don ha ki bon ki jakarta ro ki la don ki ni ki internal ki cells jong ki kan ki ba pek against sexual harassment in the workplace no so ni kemen ba ki don ki ni ha ta ka don kata ka awareness ne ki pen ki but ki ma ki ro ki shem ka ne campaign ki shem seriously
kira kini shit ya ka campaign ba sibna
Shibna.
ai ka zang na 8% kan ko da do December
Hello, Christmas, you know.
Christmas or what focus 1 month long campaign gender based violence campaign
it's a different lens mo societal lens ki ga camera ro mo kadi ga tawon
Now, Kalyang Jongka commission part, from the commission side, what is the commission going to do I'm sure every year, but this year, what would be the commission? What would be the commission's work, or what is the commission doing for 25th December or 25th November till December 10? And how can people participate? We can also call out to listeners and viewers who are watching this. How can people participate in your activities, and what are those activities?
We're working out the ngidang pen ayo yaki details ke ban ngidai ban le man pa ti nga tharai hapo Instagram tharing se laban pen sha shu eki.
Berpengkut you kena ka kerja keren. To end this very informal discussion, sit down with the Meghalaya State Commission for Women. I would like to request each of you to tell something or to say something to our listeners, and to also tell something to our viewers from the commission side, maybe an exhortation, a message of some sort. We can start with Kong Syiem.
So den yi ong pang ka message jing sha kam don kam ka commission kan I message nama ka message ngi la yo namba ka GM man ka sngi ka reality jongi yo sngo na ka social media ba ki jing ja ki bejat ki jat da den ka sawa kala de ban long loud enough ka ka message that violence is here, especially happening ki kan thai but ki khlong ki khanna, but ni de ban don amde tang ka jing so lem ba so sin ni ban dom. We have to get angry that kumno bangila ban im hak kum kan ka im lang ka sa lang ha baki kiwe pa da ki mat ikini ki jing kan ne ta ka daw ni ka jing karpat ka dei ba sngub ha ba hangno don mangim na ni ngim na ban yo ban reach out mo haki bon ki banta te ni don kam ya barak khat ban ya snok ti lang ban ya le ino pa pio violence ka don ka violation ka don ka jing ban ben ka digom na tongin ya ke bat na sungo na mar ba ki bon ki samla ki ba ki im bat ki ba ban kentu ki bat ki rong kemi ki tre shi tom shisha wat ki rang ba ro ki senjok ki sang rang ba shnong bat ki we ki le jong benta reda dangi so tho ba ka ne ka problem jong ka society ka jong in dei to ngin yang kan kum ka society nai shania tanga government la ne commission and ring in tre ha ino benta han ra sur ka jong ka de ban kham sawa bat ngin pen de ki lat kilanti one chaka commission ro ai boy yang iro kumno bangila ban le khana bangila ban tre ka kam ka bakham ba but ki long keme per ki bayat na bagini ki jing ba pin shlur ba pim num shap tiang ki bon ki brio ki isen ber ki kwa ban yaram te kata ka de jing karpan but kham ta mi ki khana asam la ki kan thai to ya dai le de ki but mdei tang kata yarap iwe kam dagam don ka compassion dagam don ka jing isen ya ki ngim na ban don ka jing shampang kum no banin yam tangita
kumbai ong kong Iamon ong ba ki don kam mo ba ki ni don kam man wat ik tekila jing ra bangin penmi mo la dang don kinu jing bangin man chakmat te ngka sarkar kala bu ki bon ki la dan ai jing ra mo mentah po hamana ki district ni la don ni kita ki one stop center for women Ndai shuman chuang idan tang ka commission tai menta ling ba ka jing yarap jong ka Ministry of Women and Child ka scheme jong ki hila don ki one stop center each hamana ki district hila don bola bu kerpang tanam ta ki kan thai ban ai jing yarap so ki hapo jong ki ni one stop center ru kini ba dep ki ni one stop center ki center manager ki de ki protection officer hapo jong ni ka domestic violence act ban ai hila jing yarap ni kan thai ki ba sha ban ben sha le ben hi dong yin long sem so kawe pada kalat ke bakha sarkar kala bu menta so ke social welfare kala bu tau helpline mo kerpang nan ta kin the number de 18181 de toll free bo from dan kaman se pisa from the phone anytime pi phone pila ban any emergency sting me ru ki penyarap pan temu pa ki pulit na ne ban pa ki kali ban la hospital any kind of emergency can yarap anytime
181 mo is pa puing. So Kubeshibon, ikong Iamon Syiem, Chairperson, but ikong Annie Sohtun, Coordinator. Thank you to both of our guests who have been here in this very informal discussion. And we are looking forward to comments and suggestions from our listeners and our viewers. Any questions that you may have, anything that you may feel the Commission can address in our next upcoming podcast. I am sure you will be having questions. Na tarai pinyadon kijing keli, pinyadon kino kini kijing kerenjing ajing mot berpikwa ban ai, pila ban, talk have a comment section. You can write it down in the comment section and we will address them in the next one. Thank you very much for being patient with us. Kubeshun pisngap yang no mene. And ya karon dingi say kedup biasa sien. Thank you very much. Have a good day.